Happy Thursday to everyone. I hope everyone has had a most wonderful week, and I hope you have a most wonderful rest of the week and weekend. You all, let's take these sweet potatoes that you see boiling and this graham cracker crust and make a sweet potato souffle my way. You all, I boil my sweet potatoes with the skin on them because it makes it easier for me to peel them. Now they're tender and ready, so the next thing I'm getting ready to do is to pour the water off and get them peeled so I can smash them up, because we're going to need 4 cups of sweet potatoes. But the first thing you want to do is wash your sweet potatoes off. If you want to peel them ahead of time, you can, and if not, put them in the pot and put some water on them. I'll be right back so that we can start getting this sweet potato souffle together. I'm back and I peeled the potatoes out. The next thing I'm going to do is we're just going to mash them up. And after you get them all mashed, then we'll start adding in the other ingredients. And you all, this is 4 cups of sweet potatoes. The recipe calls for 4 cups. And if you halfen it, let's say you use 2 cups, you just halfen the other ingredients in the recipe. Okay, you all, I'll be right back so we can finish putting in the ingredients. Next, we want to add our milk and our eggs. And these eggs, they need to be beaten. You're going to add 2 large eggs, 2 large beaten eggs, shall I say. And no worries, you all, my hands are clean. Okay, I'm cracking this egg. I'm not sure if you can see me or not. So let me rinse my hands right quick. And now I'm going to beat this egg, and then we're going to pour in the milk. So I'm just going to beat this egg. Until it's beaten well. And you all, you can just do this with a fork. So next, now that I've beaten this egg, we're going to pour it in. 2 large eggs beaten, and I will leave the recipe in the description box. Next, you all, we need to add in here 1/4 cup of milk. Okay, I'm just gonna pour it in here. Okay, and next we're just gonna mix this together real good. And you all, if you want to, I just like plain sweet potato souffle with just the brown sugar and flour coating on top. But inside the souffle, if you wanted to, after you add all of the ingredients, you could add raisins. Some people add coconut flakes. Some people add pecans. Some people add walnuts. And in the topping, you can add pecans along with the flour and the brown sugar if you want to. And you don't need a crust on the bottom. I just like it like that. That's why I'm calling it sweet potato souffle my way. Okay, you all, I'll be back because next we're going to add in the vanilla and the dry ingredients. Okay, next we're going to add in 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We have to add in 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay. We also need to add in 1/2 cup of sugar. Now we're going to stir this up. And I'll show you all up close what it looks like. It smells good. I love sweet potatoes. Let me know in the comment, which do you prefer, a sweet potato pie over a pumpkin pie? Okay, you all, I'll be right back. The last thing we need to go in here is 4 tablespoons of softened butter, and I am using unsalted butter. So now we're just going to stir this all around, and this is it for the mix. And I'm going to go ahead and finish stirring this. Then when I come back, we're going to go ahead and put it in my pie crust and make the topping, and that'll be it. I'll be back to show you what this is looking like and to make the topping. Okay, I'm back, and this is what it's looking like. So now what I'm going to do is move this to the side, and I'm going to take this graham cracker crust. And you all, I'm sure I probably made too much since I'm making it in a crust as opposed to a pan. But let's say you make it in a pan. You're just going to lay it in the pour it in the pan. And I'll put the size pan in the description box. But you would just pour your souffle in whatever pan you're using, because the recipe doesn't call for a graham cracker crust. Like I said, that's just what I like. So right now we're going to pour as much in here as I can get. Okay, let's smooth that down and see. Okay, you all, so I think that's going to be more than enough. Now I'm going to get the ingredients together so we can make the topping and put the top on it. And you all, this bakes in the oven on 325 degrees for 45 minutes. I'll be back to make the topping. Okay, to make this topping, we're starting out with a 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. And packed brown sugar simply means that you mashed it down. Next, we're pouring in a 1/3 cup of flour. And 3 tablespoons of butter that at room temperature, softened butter. And you all, I'm using unsalted butter. Now, we're just gonna stir this up, mix this up together. You wanna mash that softened butter down first. Okay, you all, I'm gonna mix this together, and I'll be back to show you how we're going to top it. I'm back, and this is what the topping looks like. It looks like a little dough because when it's cooking, when it's done cooking, it's going to be really crunchy. And like I said, this is the point where if you wanted to, you can add pecans in here. And you all, I have this little dish, so what I did was took the rest of the leftover souffle and put it in here because like I said, you don't need a pie crust for this recipe. I just like the graham cracker crust. And then I will just top it with the topping as well and put it in the oven. So I'm going to slide this souffle over. And I've already washed my hands. And remember, the topping is a little doughy. So I washed my hands, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use my fingers to top this. Now, if you melt your butter and use it, melted butter, you can top it like that. That makes it where you can just pour the topping on as opposed to what I'm doing right now. But I don't mind doing this. Okay, you all, I'm going to finish putting this topping on here, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like. All right, this is the finished sweet potato souffle before it goes in the oven. This is what the topping looks like. Like I said, it's like a dough. Now I want to show you in my smaller souffle, if you melt the butter first and then stir in your flour and brown sugar, it'll come out like this, and you can just pour it on there and spread it across the top. And keep in mind, you all, the inside filling is not real sweet like a sweet potato pie because you have the topping on the souffle that's sweet as well. Okay, these both are about to go in the oven on 325 for 45 minutes. I'll be back when they're done and cooled off so that I can give the first bite to you. Okay, this is the first sweet potato souffle. It's done. I'm waiting on the other. Now you all see how this topping looks on the top. When it cools down, it's gonna get crunchy. I'll let you hear it with my fork when it's time to taste it. I'll be back when the last souffle is done. Okay, this is my finished sweet potato souffle. Now you all, what I'm going to do is let this cool down so that the top can get hard. I'll be back so that we can taste it. All right, you all, I'm back and it's time to taste it. But before we taste it, I'm only going to get a little bit out of here, and I'm going to do the one with the pie crust on the bottom, with the graham cracker crust on the bottom. But I wanted to hold it up to the camera so you can see it. And my fingers are clean, but I want you to hear. I don't know if you can hear that topping has got hard, and that's why you let it cool down, because then it'll harden up. When it's real hot, the topping is a little bit softer. So let's go ahead and get us a piece out of here so we can see what it looks like on the inside. And like you all, like I said, I'm just gonna do a little piece right now because I've still got to eat my dinner. Okay, so, and remember, this is not a sweet potato pie. It's a souffle. So it's not going to come out solid like a sweet potato pie. This is what it's looking like now that I've taken it out. There's the top and then that crust on the bottom. But I'm going to take the camera down real quick so that you can see what it looks like up close. And then I'll give the first bite to you. Okay, this is what it's looking like on the inside. And remember, you don't have to put a crust on yours. I like to put the graham cracker crust on the bottom of mine. So that's what it's looking like up close. Sweet potato souffle. And then here is the baby one that I made without a crust on the bottom. So sweet potato souffle. All right, you all, let's get ready to taste this. Okay, I'm going to give you all the first bite. I'm going to give you a piece with the topping and a piece with the graham cracker crust. Y'all, this is falling apart, but it's okay. The first bite goes to you. Now let me try it. It's super hot. That's really good, y'all. That is really good. Let me give you another bite. It's not super sweet because, like I said, it's the topping that is sweet as well. So you don't need as much sugar in your souffle. But you can taste it as you go and sweeten it how you like it. That's really good. Okay, you all. Thanks so much for coming with me to make these sweet potato souffles. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you have a most wonderful meal.